Construction of pattern for front shirt piece. In the previous session, we identified the standard body measurements required and made a few calculations for constructing the pattern of the uniform shirt. We've also seen that a uniform shirt has two front shirt pieces, one back shirt piece, sleeves, standing collar, and pocket. In this session, we will see how to construct the pattern of a front shirt piece based on drafting instructions. At the end of the session, you will be able to estimate fabric required for making a uniform shirt, construct pattern of the front piece for the uniform shirt. As per the measurement chart, the full length is 16 inches and chest circumference is 23 inches. With these measurements, let's calculate the length of fabric required for making the uniform shirt. In the previous session, we calculated the total full length as 17.5 inches. So the actual fabric required would be 1 time the total shirt length plus 1 time the total sleeve length, plus we need to add some extra fabric for making collars, that is 17.5 inches plus 6 3/8 inches, which gives us a total of 23 5/8 inches. We will round this to 30 inches considering the fabric width is 34 inches. So the total fabric required would be 30 inches or almost 3/4 meters of fabric. In the previous session, we had made a few calculations for drafting purpose. Here we would need some of these fractions to draft the front pieces of the uniform shirt. We calculated the total full length for drafting, including all the seam allowances, as 17.5 inches. For a shirt, we need two front shirt pieces. We had already seen the calculations required for making one front shirt piece. We added 3/8 inches for the half overlap, 1.5 inches for wearing ease, and 1/2 inch side seam allowance to quarter of our chest measurement, which is 5 3/4 inches, which gives us a total of 8 1/8 inches. We also calculated the total shoulder width for drafting after adding 3/8 inch of seam allowance for the armhole to half of the shoulder width, which is 5 3/4 inches, to get a total width of 6 1/8 inches. We will also need these fractions to construct the pattern of the front piece for the uniform shirt. First, let's see how to draft the pattern for the front piece of the uniform shirt. Draw baseline and mark a point 0 on the upper part of the line. This line represents the cutting line while drafting on fabric. From point 0, draw a right angle line to the baseline. This will be the shoulder line. Again from point 0, measure the front length including seam allowance, which is 17.5 inches, along the baseline and make a mark. This is point 1. From point 1, draw a right angle line to the baseline. Starting from point 0, measure 1.5 inches along the shoulder line and make a mark. This is point 2. This is the hem allowance extension for the placket. From point 2, measure quarter of the chest circumference including overlap, wearing ease, and seam allowance of 8 1/8 inches and make a mark. This is point 4. Then from point 1, measure 1.5 inches and make a mark. This is point 3 and it marks the other end of the hem allowance extension for the placket. Connect points 2 and 3 in a straight line. From point 3, measure 8 1/8 inches and make a mark. This is point 5. Connect points 4 and 5 in a straight line. From point 2, measure quarter of the chest circumference, which is 5 3/4 inches downward, and make a mark. This is point 6. From point 6, draw a right angle line. The point where it meets the line 4 5 will be point 7. Now from point 2, measure half of the shoulder width including seam allowance, which comes to 6 1/8 inches, and make a mark. This is point 8. From point 6, measure half of the shoulder width including seam allowance, which is 6 1/8 inches, towards point 7 and make a mark. This is point 9. Connect points 8 and 9 in a straight line. From point 8, measure 3/4 inch down and make a mark. This is point 10. Starting from point 2, measure 1/12 of chest circumference, which is 1 3/4 inches, plus quarter inch, which is 2 inches, along the shoulder line and make a mark. This is point 11. Connect points 10 and 11 in a straight line. Again, starting from point 2, measure 1/12 of the chest circumference, which is 1 3/4 inches, plus quarter inch, which is 2 inches, along the baseline and make a mark. This is point 12. Connect points 11 and 12 in a straight line. Now find the midpoint of line 8, 9 and make a mark. This is point 13. From point 13, measure ½ inch towards the left and make a mark. This is point 14. Now shape the front armhole using a French curve starting from point 7, then 14, 10. Then find midpoint of line 11, 12 and make a mark. This is point 15. From point 15, measure ½ inch perpendicular to line 11, 12 as shown here and make a mark. This is point 16. From point 12, starting with a right angle, start curving the front neck opening using a French curve along point 16 and ending at point 11 again in a right angle. From point 12, draw a right angle line towards the baseline. The point where this line meets the baseline will be point 17. Find midpoint of line 17, 12 and make a mark. This is point 18. From point 18, measure ½ inch upwards and make a mark. This is point 19. Connect points 19, 17 and 19, 12 in a straight line. The horizontal lines 2, 4, 6, 7 and 3, 5 are parallel and should be of the same length. The vertical lines 0, 2, 2, 3 and 4, 5 are parallel and should be of the same length. Thus we have completed constructing the pattern for the front part of the uniform shirt. In this session, we have learned how to construct pattern for the front piece of a uniform shirt. Before we conclude, let's take a look at the key steps involved in constructing the pattern for the front shirt piece. Step 1. Draw the baseline fold and mark the total full length. Step 2. Construct the shoulder line. Step 3. Construct 1½ inches from the baseline for the placket. Step 4. Construct the shoulder slope, curve the front armhole and front neck opening. With that, we've come to the end of this session.